everybody, welcome to the Emmy podcast. This is my brother, Gabriel Aguayo, special guest for sure.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but you said you wouldn't come on if I wasn't like until I was successful. You're like, then I'll come on. But it's like the second episode, and you're like, all right, I want in because it's like it seems fun to you. So
I just feel that I'm really into podcasts myself. So like the opportunity to be able to like, even though it might be a small audience, but like still it's something that like I think what we're going to talk about is something that a lot of people can benefit from. So
yeah, I hope so.
I think that's why that's why I want to do it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on because it's like for me this is like more so a hobby right now, but who knows later down the line what could happen with it. But I really enjoy talking, and I really enjoy people listening in and like getting them saying their opinion. So it's like for me, it's just a whole fun time. Like really, So, but let's just get started with the topic real quick. So, you and I have always had the best relationship growing up,
right?
And just when we were like starting right off the bat, it was maybe good. Like when we were around maybe 5 years old, and you're how much older are you than me? Like
I'm 3.5 years old.
Yeah, like 3.5. So you were like 8 years old or something. But even then, it felt like we never really got along. And honestly, like looking back, I'm like, holy crap, you were like my childhood bully in some aspect.
I mean, the way that I remember it from like my perspective. I guess just like not like me and my personality, like not really ever like being able to fit in as a kid. I feel like that might have been in a way kind of like me getting out my anger to like the people that I love, like my little brothers.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really say anything or do anything to my parents as a little kid. And then like I remember even like going into like my preteen, like early teen years, I just remember like inside, like in a dark place, like there was like an anger in me, but like it wouldn't always come out. Like I like to have fun or whatever, but like whenever something would frustrate me, like that part would like almost like come out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like anything that was like intentional or anything, but like I did go through a lot as a little kid, you know? Sure. So like for me, it wasn't anything even personal with you or anything. Like because you would do stuff that annoyed me, but what sibling doesn't,
Yeah. So
for me, it was just like something that I could control, I think. And I think that's where like if you're saying I'm a bully, then I think that's where I think a lot of those people come from. Like they have a lot of the times their parents are abusing of them verbally or physically, or they might have gone through something that some people go through, whether it be like sexually abused or whatever, and like they take it out on people. And I think for me and the stuff that I was going through at the time, whether you felt like you deserved it or not, which you didn't, I think that's where that was coming from. And then you probably, now me thinking about it, because it's not something that but now that we're talking about this topic, like me looking back and thinking about it, I think that being in your perspective, you're like, dude, like what the heck? I'm not deserving or anything of this. But I think that a lot of that stuff, it just happens. But like, we talked about this. I don't want anybody to think like, oh, like we're barely fixing this. Like we've talked about it. We're just like redoing it to basically help or like kind of give people perspective of like this isn't just a single issue. Like it can be something that affects a lot of people. So
no, like which I didn't even know that you felt like you didn't belong, because that's how I felt for like a good portion of my life, where I was like, man, I feel like I don't belong anywhere. So what made you feel like, man, I don't feel like I belong? Like what was that? And like how young were you when you felt like that?
I mean, I think It's a lot. It's a lot. There's some things that I don't really feel comfortable talking about, but like the things that I do, like um, me always being told as a kid, like, especially from my mom. Me and my mom have a very close relationship. Not that you don't, but me and mom have a good relationship. And as a kid, she would always tell me like, "There's something about you that you can just do whatever you want, and like you're gonna be good. Like you're gonna like there's something, the quality in you that you need to like figure out basically." So as a little kid and as a teenager and as an early adult, I always in the back of my mind always had that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because thinking about it, I've realized that I had anxiety to fail. Like I didn't want to have that pressure, but I did at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to live up to that in my mom's eyes and the people that are the closest to me, but at the same time, I just had a deep fear of failing. And then a lot of the times as a kid, I just kept feeling like there was bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happening, where it's like I don't like, whether it be like I was decent at sports, but then I couldn't play. As a little kid, that really, really affected me because it's like, why do I, at the time, that's what I thought my gift was, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, why do I have this gift and then I can't even use it?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I really, even though I would go out and play a lot,
yeah.
I didn't practice. So like, I always felt like if I really just got to dedicating myself and like working out and like practicing all the time, I could be really, really good. And like I would have coaches and stuff tell me like, dude, like you join, like we could go to state and win with you. But I just had people in my life that were able to kind of redirect my focus on things that were more important. And I started realizing that the true value and the things that are the most important are my friends, my family, and spiritual things, or there's a lot of other things that are priorities, and sports at the time it just seemed like that's my career path.
Yeah.
And the things that I just kept feeling all the time throughout my life that things kept getting taken away, and whether it was us moving, losing friends, and so it's like I just had a lot of built up frustration as a kid, and whenever we would have disagreements or whenever I would get annoyed of something that you would say, like I would just like trigger something in me. I don't know. I really don't know what it was because I don't really have that anymore. Because I'm just like in a different place in my life.
For sure.
But I just remember as a kid, I couldn't control what I was doing or what I was saying. I would have disagreements with dad all the time, and I don't remember what I would say.
Yeah.
But like now, if we do disagree on something, it's like we more have a conversation, and like even us now, like we'll disagree, but it's not like we're like getting each other's faces and like fighting or anything. It's just like we can disagree on something and either agree to disagree or we like help each other out.
Yeah.
You know?
There's still like this, because like when we were trying to do things for the anniversary for our mom and dad, and there was a video, and then we had like there was a little something about like, we had a disagreement about something, and a part of me still has like an anxiety like, oh, we are going to get into a fight. Because like it still hasn't left me. Like I know that like I'm never gonna get in a fight with you or.
Sounds like you have PTSD.
Yeah, I think I do. But like that was the fear. Like if I messed something up, like if I ever went to your room and you found out, I'm like I'm dead. Like, you know, or if I messed around or like even played your Xbox, and I was like, oh snap, I'm gonna get like seriously like beat up. No, you never beat me up, but it was like I knew you'd get furious, and I'm like that would scare me.
Because it's like,
and
when you have your own space, because that's really the only thing that I had. Everybody had their own room, their own space. And like when I would have either things like my chairs or whatever, and somebody would go into my room, I'd know. So like, whenever, I remember one time I went out with friends and I come back in my room and I said, what smells in here? And then I was like, dude, somebody came in my room, and then I like confronted you about it, and you're like, yeah, I did. I was like, why are you in my room?
Wait, I didn't stink.
Yeah,
What do you mean it smelled? What do you mean it smelled?
my chair smelled like you.
Ah, great.
So
Okay, I was a stinky kid. I was a stinky kid.
so I was like, man, like why? Like you have your room at the time, you know.
Yeah.
Like now, I really don't care at all. But it's just that at the time, it's like this is the only space I have that's mine,
For sure.
and that's the only thing I can control. So when I felt people were like going in trying to, not that you were taking it, but it's just like this is my space.
Yeah.
Just like in my mind, I was like, why isn't he respecting that? Like, I'm not going in his room. Like,
yeah.
You know, that's just how my mindset was at the time because that's all I had.
Yeah, like it was your place of solace. Like you could find just peace in there, and nothing, everything else was taken away from you. But this is the one thing you had, and you just wanted something for yourself.
Right.
So, yeah, I never even. I like talking about it more just because it makes me feel like I understand more of what was happening on your perspective. Because, like we said before, like I don't hold anything against you. I just like looking back and understanding because it happened. Because we had that relationship. And I don't know if anybody else has a relationship like that with their brother. You know, I'm sure someone does, sibling or anything. But it's like, it's a hard thing when you're going through it and you're like, you really don't have an answer to it, you know? And it's like, I don't know why it feels like this person hates me or this person doesn't like me. And we would have our moments when we were kids, like, you know, playing video games together or even sometimes playing sports together. But it was always like how, for whatever reason, it was always like this. Because we were kids, we just didn't understand like what what was happening with family, your frustrations, and also there was like communication. Like it's not like you. And also, I don't even think I would understand what you were going through because you were a little bit older than me. You were going through different things, so it was like, you know, whatever you were confronting, you couldn't talk to me and be like, hey, look, this is what I'm going through, and I'd be like, you know, I'd probably just laugh in your face. Or something.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that just comes from like our parents though, because dad, like he would express his big issues, but as far as like a lot of the little things that he'd go throughout, because I'm sure like he went through stressful days at work or, you know, in his relationship with his kids or, you know, in his relationship with mom.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, he had a previous relationship and he has other children. So it's like, for me, I also felt just weird because in one sense, I was the older brother, but at the same time, I was one of the younger brothers or the middle brother because of our older brothers that we have. And so like, that's kind of like the only other thing too, is like, because like they would treat me like a little brother, I was like, well, I'm the big brother sometimes too. So like, that's kind of, I think also where I learned a lot of like how to be an older brother is from them. So, and I think that's a little bit of good and bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they suck.
So
no, but it was like,
yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of things, just like of our environment.
Yeah.
But I feel like as we've gotten older, we're really like becoming who we are.
Yeah.
And like a lot of those like good values are there, but it's like we're kind of just becoming our own. And just conversations like this that we have, I think it's really helped us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'm also kind of in that space right now where I'm just trying to understand and learn as much as I can about other people's perspectives, because we tend to, as people, just focus on our own problems and what we only go through. But that's not really... It's important, but it's not the most important thing. Like when you have, like me and being married, like I have somebody that I have to, in my opinion, worry more about than myself. And that's kind of my focus, is my family first, and then after that is myself. But right now I'm also kind of trying to find that balance of, I need to worry about myself too.
Yeah.
So I think trying to like really understand other people though is really beneficial, and I would recommend anybody to do that.
Yeah.
But I think just in our relationship, these conversations have really, really helped.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that like made me see some sort of like have a moment of clarity was like, so you and I grew up religious, and you know we're Jehovah's Witnesses. But like one of the stories in the Bible that really helped me was story of Joseph because of what he went through with his brothers. And when I read that story, and you can even watch the movie too, that movie made me cry so many times because I'm like, that's how I felt. I felt like the little brother that was, and from my perspective, misunderstood. And for like just reading that story and also watching the movie, it made me like go, instead of being your enemy, how can I? Because I was also very like jealous of you growing up too, because it was like, everybody gave you all these. It seemed like everybody would gravitate towards you. Everybody really liked you, and I felt like I was kind of in your shadow a little bit sometimes. But there was, for some reason, I in my mind, I was able to see the story of Joseph and be like, you know what? How about instead of going against you, like, not liking you for you being you, I was like, why don't I support him? And why don't I like try to be there for him and be like, oh yeah, like he's a great, great person. And it was hard sometimes because we talked about this before too, where I felt like everybody would ask me where you are. Like all our friends would ask me, oh, where's Gabe? And I'm like, hi, I'm here too. I exist. Like I'm a person. But
I think what we ended up figuring out though, because I told you too, like they would always ask me, where's Manny?
Yeah.
So I think it was just something that people would say, but if you psychoanalyze it from your perspective, whether it be from your perspective or my perspective, because I always felt the same way of, why are they always asking about other people when I'm talking to them? Like about, just talking, or like, oh, like, I know, like, when they haven't seen you in a long time, then that's when I started realizing, like, okay, I mean, it is what it is whatever as I got older.
Yeah.
But in the moment, like, when you're going through your own trials and tribulations, like, you just feel like, dang, like, I'm my own person, like, too. But we all have a lot of the same friends.
Yeah.
Not like we both kind of have our own lives and friends and everything, yeah. But in the moment, a lot of our friends overlapped.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because all the people that you hung out with were mostly your friends, and you had connections with them. I didn't. I was young. I was the younger brother. They just kind of tagged along. So it was like, it was really more so when people would tell me that, it would be random people I don't even know who they are, or they would know of me, but they would just be like, oh yeah, where's your brother at? And so like looking back, I'm like, all right, it makes sense. Like everybody is just closer to you. It's not because they probably didn't look down on me, but it felt that way. It kind of sucks when you're you're around a bunch of people and everybody's not concerned about you at all, or even asking how you're doing. And then ask, oh, where's your brother? I want to go talk to him. Like that would be like the correct social, whatever to like follow. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, that would have made me feel better, but it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah. I think for me, I remember, to me it was clear. I don't know if you remember this moment, but for me, I remember that you did or said something that I don't remember exactly what happened, but you made me really, really angry. And I remember either I said something to you, but I remember like I physically just punched you in the arm one time. I think we were in the car.
Yeah. And
I didn't do it if I had to rate the punch, I would probably say I gave maybe 30, 40%. But it really hurt you. And I was like, that's the moment where I was like, man, my words and my physical actions are a big impact to people. And I remember from that moment, I was like making a conscious effort to be better. And I feel like even throughout those teenage years, like we struggled.
I'm glad my dead arm made you realize that. You went through the whole psychological, like philosophical. You know what? Maybe I should treat people better.
No, because I didn't try. I didn't try to hurt you. I didn't try to hurt you, but it really hurt you. Yeah. And I just remember that moment, and from that moment, I just like tried to be better with our relationship. But because we were still young, we were going, like teenagers going through whatever changes we're going through, and you'd still do stuff to annoy you. But it's just like you said, like I got to a point where I tried to understand your perspective and what your interests are and all that stuff. Because when we were kids, we would try to invite you to go do stuff. but it just wasn't what you were into. And but at the time, it's just like, dude, he doesn't want to. Like, he's just not. He doesn't want to be with us. So it's just like, let him do his thing. Like, he likes to play video games, but at the same time, like, we could have also. But like you said, like, they were mainly our friends because they liked it. We had a lot of the same interests.
Yeah.
But still, we could have made the effort of like, hey, let's do something that Manny likes to do.
Yeah.
But
well, as a little brother though, it's like it doesn't matter what you do. When you do things with your big brothers, it always feels good. You know, if you feel like you're included. I think the problem was I just didn't like you guys. Like, I didn't like you, and I didn't like your friends. Because it's like, for me, it's like I'm not gonna have a good time. Like, how? Because I mean, imagine like, oh, like either the week before or a couple of days before, you punched me in the arm or did something or said something to me, and we had like a little skirmish, and then you're like, hey, you want to come hang out? It's like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to spend time with you because I don't like you. You're, you know, so it was like, so it was hard.
I think for me, those moments at the time were small, like, outbursts. You know, like, because like I said, it was built up. Once I let it go and I was with my friends, or I was like, we're doing stuff that we like to do, I wasn't thinking about that. But for you, it affected you on a different level because you were more to yourself or doing other things that you like to do. I think you probably thought about it more than I did because it wasn't something that like I was consciously doing. It was just happening.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, now looking back at it, I can see where you're coming from. But at the moment, we were inviting you to do stuff, and then that's why like a lot of our friends are like, I don't know why, man. Like, but you're explaining it, so that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, like I mean, just think about like too, like a lot of the things, because it wasn't just like, you know, like physical fights that we would have, or, you know, you punching me or whatever. It was also like, you know, words too. You know, there was a lot of that too that would be thrown around, and it was also back to you too. Like me as a kid going back, I would say stuff to you too. I don't even remember what I said to you because you were always able to make a comeback, and we always had a thing about comebacks.
We still do.
Yeah, we still do. But you were at that time though. It was like it felt personal. So it was like either you would say something about like me being like overweight, or I don't know if you ever just said like if I was straight up dumb or something. But I can't even remember. But I do remember like a lot of the weight jokes, and that bothered me a lot when I was a kid. And Miguel would also, you know, he would tune in on that too. So it was like, you know, that also messed with my self-esteem a little bit, or actually I should say a lot, you know, growing up. But I mean, eventually I got over it, and I found like I would like be watching YouTube or whatever, and I would find my like I guess you know people that I would look up to that were overweight or just didn't even care about what they looked like, and I would find like I would look up to them and then be like, oh, so I'm okay, like I'm, you know, my brothers are saying one thing or other people at school are saying another thing, but I'm able to look at them and they're like, yeah, of course we're fat, and I'm just like, yeah, of course I'm fat. It's like, all right, great, you know, I can move on with my life. And even now, like today, like I feel like I've grown a sort of confidence in myself to be able to just pretty much not let that get in the way anymore. Like whether it be with, you know, with relationships with friends or with girls or even job or anything that I want to like achieve, it's not really in the way. Sometimes it is because I'll be like, I'm not, for other things, like sometimes I'll get, you know, like self-conscious, like when we're maybe out at the beach or, you know, where we have to have our shirt off or whatever. I'll sometimes feel that. But not usually it's like 50-50 now, which is pretty good. So yeah, but I'm getting better. So
yeah, I think kind of going back to what we were talking about a little bit, is like once you started realizing the good in each other, because I remember thinking consciously about it was specifically in Michigan, like towards the end, where we were like all kind of like getting really close to our friends up there, and like you were coming out of your shell and becoming like the funny kid.
Yeah. And
I remember like in that group, like when we would all hang out, like I remember just like, oh yeah, like Manny's a funny kid, Miguel's Miguel. Like he's always Miguel's always kind of like been the same. Like he's just he can be outgoing, but then he's introverted at the same time.
Yeah.
He's into sports and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then me, I can be extroverted, but at the same time, I feel like I'm a hybrid. I'm a little more extroverted, but I can be very introverted too.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people might think that it comes from a place of like me either not liking them or I'm not really into what's going on. But in reality, it's just like sometimes like, and I think it's from us moving around so much. That's kind of what affected me. It's like the only place that I have to really be, because it was like 50% of my time was in my room. So but a lot of it was out.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like in some situations or in some things, like I either get quiet or I just don't go out because I'm just kind of used to being in my house.
Yeah. So will you ever be like in a group of friends and people are like, why are you quiet?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm the same way. Like my friends hate when I do that. Like I'll be driving and like I had a recent road trip. We went down to like like a little southern, like to Johnson Sheddon's, like more southern of Missouri, and one of my friends was like, "Why are you like?" I was just driving and I was a little quiet, and she was like, "Why are you being quiet?" And I'm just like, "I'm just driving."
Yeah.
Like my focus is on the road, but I can't. Like some people are like, "Oh yeah," like they'll be able to interact with everybody while they're driving. I guess that time I just didn't feel like doing it. And my mind would just like shut off. Also, I was focused on like fishing that day. I was like, I just want to fish, so my mind would just be on one thing, and that's it. But my mind, I'll just kind of go quiet, and it's not because I'm having a bad time or because I don't like where I'm at. It's just like my mind just goes quiet sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just like it's literally like a blank for me. It's like a blank where I'm like, I have nothing to say, but I want to be here. I just have nothing to say.
And I think for me, what helps me because a lot of it too is like because I had a lot of time to myself. I overanalyze and overthink a lot.
Really.
And more than what people think. Like I would overthink things to the point where I don't really want to get into it. I would just overthink things a lot.
Yeah.
And even now I'll still get into my head a lot.
Yeah.
And I know that's not it is me, but it's not. Like I'm just like overthinking. But like when I'm like when I have like we've had moments where it's just like we're having a good time. Like that's for sure. That's me. The thing that helps is drinking, not overly drinking, but like drinking to a point where it just like brings my guard down. Mm-hmm. And like that, I feel like my real self comes out. Yeah. Because if not, like I'll be in a situation sometimes where I'm like, and I know that's probably not a good excuse to drink. And I'm more of a social drinker though. Like it's only really when I go out, I like to like bring because it helps me just calm down. Yeah. But when I'm at the house, I really don't drink. Like I might have a drink maybe 2 a week, but I really don't drink. Yeah. And I work at a bar, so it's like I don't drink like that.
Yeah. But just like put it out there, drinking in moderation. Like you drink in moderation, you don't go overboard or anything. Yeah. But you're just talking about like. You like to drink because it lets your guard down just a little bit, and so you would drink to the point where it's like your guard's down a little bit and you feel a little bit more relaxed.
For me, I think after like the first, like depending on what type of drink it is too. Like right now, I'm drinking whiskey, and like with one of these, like it'll get me to a point where it'll bring my guard. Like I have a pretty high tolerance, but I could have maybe 3 or 4 of these and I'm still fine, but once it gets past that point, then I know I'm crossing a line that like it's gonna lead to something that maybe I don't want to do, or I might get sick or something. Yeah. But for me, like I'm not trying to promote drinking by any means. I'm just saying for me personally, it's just something that I found that like when I'm in a social setting, it's something that helps me just be myself, and I'm not doing it in order to.
Come in.
They didn't have tomato soup, so I got a chili just in case.
That's great. No, that's good.
You want it?
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. You want to come on the podcast? Cut that out. You saying drinking helps you?
Yeah. I'm just gonna wait until she comes back. Hurry up, bro. Thank you.
I think I have a.
You put that like on the table or something that's not in the shot?
What's up? I'm finding a spoon.
Wait, I don't need this right now, though.
I know. I don't know why you're coming right now.
Yeah.
Bro.
Do you want to come in and just sit in now?
No, because I'm going to eat.
Okay. I'll just eat it later, yeah.
You ever see it later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Working.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Kobe's in here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
I want to keep that in there.
I think that for me, like I said, I don't want to make people think that drinking is going to make you feel good because that can lead to problems. Like,
yeah.
I am saying that like everybody has a vice that helps them feel better. A lot of them are bad, but for some people they find things, whether it be meditation, working out, whatever it is, and it helps them get to a point where they can just feel good.
Yeah.
For me, I like to drink. I feel like for me also, like I'm starting to just find different things that I like to do that are also helping me.
Yeah.
So like I find myself actually drinking less and less now. But that's kind of like one of those things that for me it really helped to just like calm down.
Yeah, and the thing is like with drinking too, it's like you see it more so as like a hobby.
Not yet.
Yeah, because it's like you like to look at, like you'll look at a selection and you'll be like, oh, I tried that, and I like, you know what you like and what you don't like.
I get comments about this all the time. At my house, I have a cart that's like full of bottles. And I don't want people to think I'm an alcoholic. I just like to collect. I like to collect.
I feel like I have to like explain things though, because like people are like, nice, he enjoys it. It's like, no, like you see it as like as a hobby, and like, you know your limits, and you're able to enjoy it to the, but also not go too far. Just like with anything, like you enjoy something, but you don't go too far. Drink is the same thing. Like you enjoy it, but just don't go overboard. And because you know what drinks affect you to what lengths, or what. And
now I do.
Yeah. And it's like, which I don't know, for me, like I've always taken it easy. Like I'll eat something and then I'll drink, and then like I feel like I'll get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, now I know where not that I know where my limit is, but I know how I need to feel, and which is how you said, where it's like your guards are down and you can just be yourself a little bit and just be relaxed. And that's really the goal when it comes to drinking. But if you drink to like forget the night, or like your goal is to like, I'm not going. I know, like if you've ever told yourself, oh, I drove home, I drank, and then I was home and I don't even remember how I got home. Like that is not good.
Like I've never.
That's not it.
I've gone through a lot of depression and pain in my, even whether if it's like a heartbreak or whatever it is. Like I've never like, oh, I need to drink the pain. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I actually prefer to go through the pain, because then you come out like it makes you kind of go through it faster too, instead of you like holding on to and trying to like get like put like a Band-Aid over it. Like no, just like let it do its thing, like go the course or whatever. Now that's a whole other podcast that you could have, but like for me it's just like something that for me in social settings helps me calm down.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I have over drinking, as especially like when I really didn't start drinking until I turned 21, which I think some people will find that hard to believe, but I really did not. Like I really took that serious, just because we also had parents that were very overprotective. So like we really didn't get to go out and like do a lot of things that a lot of teenagers do when they're in high school or whatever, and I find that for me now, it makes me feel like I have values that a lot of people don't. It makes me feel that like, I just see people that are either lost in life, or I see people that they just had they had so much freedom as a kid that they made a lot of dumb choices, and they either have repercussions that they're going through now, or that they're going to feel like very soon. Like you can just see it. Like you,
Yeah.
I'm 27 right now, and I'm learning a lot. You know, I feel like I'm entering my prime as mentally,
Yeah.
and I just see a lot of scenarios that like I've seen that already. I've seen the situation already. I've lost a lot of friends. I've seen a lot of friends come and go, but the core that I have, I'm very, very happy with because it really makes me feel like they help me with my goals. They help me in so many aspects of my life that I wouldn't replace it for anything.
Yeah.
But everybody needs that. Everybody needs that. And if you don't have that, try to find people that have similar interests. Try new things. Try things that you like to do, but do it like in a more social setting. And I guarantee you're gonna find somebody. Like you're now, I feel like, discovering who you are by like the friends that you have, and I think that's important. I think for me, because I was a little more outgoing and doing more things as a kid, I've been able to kind of like really find people that like I click with. And I think even now I have different interests and things, and because I've been able to find friends that have something that's a little more different, but we have a lot of the same values.
Yeah.
So it's like it helps you kind of grow. It just helps you like, oh dang, I didn't really view it like that. So I think that's cool too. I mean, you have to find people that honestly do push you and help you become a better person and not bring you down or keep you the same.
Yeah.
Because that's just like a big thing about me is like I don't want to ever stay the same. I want to always grow and do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like the friends I have now, I'm like super grateful for because it was always hard to maintain friendships. And I mean, I don't know how it was for you because you were very social, but I don't know if it was like
It's hard.
you had friends that was like, oh, these are my boys, or it was like we never really were friends. Because like for me, it was like I just never had friends up until recently, and I was like 21, 22, and I was like, oh, I have not to say like anybody before that wasn't. I just for me it was like hard to make connections with people, and I realized that now where it was like I wanted to be people's friend and I wanted to show like love and kindness, and I could show it, but I didn't know what it meant to have and maintain a friendship.
Right.
And it was such a weird thing because you think it's something that, because when you grow up, it just naturally happens. You become friends with a neighborhood kid, or, you know, your family have friends, you know, or your parents have friends, and then their kid becomes your best friend, and you guys hang out all the time, and you guys just automatically, it's something that's natural that happens, right? For me, I didn't have that. I didn't have, like, you know, moments where when I was a kid that I would get upset with my best friend because he took my toy or something. Like, I never had that moment. I mean, I don't know if that matters, but like something was missing because I didn't have anybody to interact with. So it was like now it was affecting me where I felt like, man, I can make people feel close to me, but I'm not close to anyone. And it was really hard to like, it felt like what's missing, you know, it was so hard to really get that down. And I feel like I'm not really sure what it is still. Like, I feel like it's just really paying attention to like what your friends' needs are, and also realizing, do you really care about these people at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Because for me, it was like, for the longest time, I was like, oh, everybody's my friend. Like I'm happy and I'm kind to everybody, and everybody gravitates towards me. But I'm like, but then when I needed them, or I thought they were like really close with me and respected me, it turned out that they didn't really have that much respect for me at all. And I'm like, I thought we were close. I thought we were friends. And I'm just like, but now I'm like, no, I'm gonna have my people that are close to me. Like I'm gonna have my good circle of friends, my closest friends, and I'm gonna pick and choose who I think is good. Because before it was everybody's in, but now I'm like more selective, and I'm like, and now that I know myself a little bit more, I'm like, all right, let me choose. I'm gonna choose who I really, really like and stick with them, and you know, be a good friend and do my best to be a friend. And
yeah, I think that the word friend even gets tossed in too much.
Yes.
Us moving around a lot, I've been able to make friends. I have.
Yeah.
But there's levels to even friendship. And I'm not even talking about best friend. Like best friends, like the people that you talk to even right now on a daily basis. But I'm saying like there's levels of like you meet somebody, you hit it off with them, they're your friends. But a lot of those people, because we moved around a lot, there's only one friend out of we started here in St. Louis, going to Michigan, Cali, back to St. Louis. Only one friend that has been there, visiting us at each place. I'm not saying that means like everything of a friendship. I'm just saying that that friend would call me, text me. He's visited us at every place and has been there throughout my whole life.
Yeah.
I feel for a lot of people, it's out of sight, out of mind. Where it's like, oh, if they're in town, oh yeah, we'll hang out, we'll do this, we'll do that. But that's just that level of friendship. It's like there is like the friendship that I have with that friend that has been there through all those things.
Yeah.
Me and him have a very close relationship even to now. And the other friends that I've had, I have close friends, even though that like we moved around, they didn't keep in touch.
Yeah.
But out of sight, out of mind is a big thing. Like you're focused on your problems and what you're going through. That even though you are close to somebody that moved away, or that's just not around you that much,
yeah.
It's not that you don't care about them. It's just like you're dealing with your own stuff.
Yep.
But the people that really mean that much to you, you're gonna talk to them. Like whenever you first like a girl, what do? You text, oh, good morning, oh, good night. I'm not saying for every guy, every girl, if you have a friend, do that. I'm just saying like there's levels to a point where it's like even if it's like every week or every month, like you check into somebody that really means something to you, like show them, and it's with a little text, a call, hey, what's up? I think that goes a long way, and I've learned that from all the moving around, and I think even now, like I said, just like being in St. Louis, we have a group of friends that we grew up with, but I feel like everybody's kind of they're all just doing their own thing, and everybody has their close group of friends, which is fine. I have nothing against that. Yeah. But it's like it just has made me realize more and more that my family is the most important thing because that's who's been through everything that we've been through. Yeah. And then at the same time, now I have a very small group of friends that I talk to on a daily or weekly, monthly basis. And I'm cool with that. Yeah. I'm honestly cool with that. I think that popularity in school damages or makes people feel like, oh, I have to have a lot of people like me. But I could care less. In school, I never tried being popular. I wanted people to like me, but I wanted to have a few people that I could just hang out with and be myself with. Yeah. And it just got to a point where it was just really hard with all the moving around. But there's still people that I'll keep in touch with. I'll see them post something, oh, that's awesome, or like, congratulations. Because a lot of people are getting married or having kids, and they're just, it's a different stage in life. Yeah. And to me, though, friendship, like I said, going back to it, I think gets tossed around too much because a lot of people are acquaintances, to be honest. Yeah. Either they're your work acquaintances. Like, I wouldn't say, I ever really had a work friend that I've ever like really, really kept in touch with. I'm not going to say that. Like here and there, I've texted them, but it's not something that's consistent. Yeah. The only people that really I've connected with and like stayed friends with are people that are in like outside of that. Like in my free time, who am I hitting up? Who am I going to hang out and like just either relieve stress or have a good time? Like it's a small group of people. Yeah. And I think that's for a lot of people, but I think people kind of get into their head a lot where they're like, oh, I didn't get invited to this, and I know that person. Yeah. Or it's like, I really don't care. I really don't. And it sounds bad. It sounds bad, but
it's the truth.
I'm just at a point in my life where it's like, I know what's important to me.
Yeah.
And people are off doing things. Sometimes people do things for the wrong reasons, though. Yeah. Like they might not invite you just to make you think of you're upset, or they might be posting things and like they're doing it to like make themselves look cool or whatever. Yeah. And it's like I really don't care. Yeah. I don't go on social media anymore really to like care about that anymore. Yeah. I just don't.
Yeah. There has to be a certain. And it took me a while to realize this too, because that's how I was. I was like, oh, I'm friends with you. You're my best friend. I would say to people, you're my best friend, and I could see it in their eyes. What are you talking about? And it was like, I'm like, why are people like that? And I'm like, I realized there has to be an accountability and a self-awareness of where your relationship is with somebody before you can even say that out loud to them. Like, you have to.
But even better, like I said, friendship gets tossed around. Like, I've heard people, oh, you're my best friend. Like, dude, I just met you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and like young people, I've seen that in young people, and I've seen that in older people, people like in their 20s and maybe even older. And it's like, you have to be accountable for your own actions. Like, meaning like, if you're going to say, oh, this person's my friend, okay, how long have you known this person? What have you guys done together? What have you done for that person out of your own kindness, out of your own desire to be friends with that person? Because to be a friend, or to have, what's the saying? Like, to be a friend, you have to, or to have a friend, you have to be a friend.
I don't know, but that sounds right to me.
That's something like that.
That sounds right.
And it's like, and that takes time. It takes time to build those relationships. So it's like, now I feel like, because, I don't know if it's like social media or something, or there's not enough communication now, but it's like people are just, they want that quick, like, oh, I need to set up a relationship now, quickly, so that I can feel like, oh, I have connections, or I feel like I have people close to me, so I'm not alone. And it's like, take your time. Like, take your time to, like, find the people that you like, to figure out, if you know who you are, figure out who you like. Because I like what one saying is like, the people that are around you represent who you are as a person. So, that's something that has to be taken into account as well. And, there's nothing wrong with having a small group of friends, or even, what am I trying to say? Like, if you're trying to be friendly with people and you want to have friends, it's like, that's okay, but make sure that you're aware of where the relationship is with people, and because you don't want to be that, the moment where things are going wrong in your life, you go out and you expect some help from them, and then you get nothing. You're like, what happened? And it's like, well, you weren't aware enough to realize these people weren't your friends to begin with. So,
And one of the things that kind of like really helped me see it too was, like, our parents were very, very hospitable.
For sure.
Growing up.
Yeah.
Where we would have families after families at our house. But for me personally, how many times those friends or families that have invited me to go do stuff was very, very small. And I'm not saying that to throw shade at anybody. I'm just saying that, like, that really made me understand that sometimes people just use you in a way. Or it's like, either if it's a source of entertainment, or you cook good food, or whatever, like, whatever it is, like, people are going to use you.
Yeah.
And that happens in life. Like, a lot of people look for their own personal interest, and that's just, it's going to happen. Yeah. But at the same time, when you go and do something, you can't expect things always in return. Yeah. You can't. Because sometimes somebody's going through a situation where they're like, oh, well, I don't feel like I have a cool enough space, or I don't have, like, but it's like, that's not important. Like, we literally, when we hang out, it's just like we eat and we talk, or we'll watch and like something, but it's just like something small.
Yeah.
But it's like, I have a good time doing it, because, like, for me, like, what I really enjoy the most is, like, creating moments. And to me, that means either having good conversation or having some form of an entertainment where it's just like, it's, I don't know, it's just more, it either like makes you laugh, or like, what, like, those are the moments,
the inside jokes.
Yeah, you really remember that.
Yeah.
Like, to me, going out and doing stuff that I remember just, like, saying to her, like, to me, the things that mean the most are the moments. Like, to me, this is an example. Out of all the shows, because you love shows and movies and all that stuff, out of all the times that you've done that, have you ever looked back and been like, yo, that was a cool moment that I had watching that show or that movie? Like, whenever you rewatch something, oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Oh, like, but then when you think about the last time you hung out with somebody and like really, really had a good time, you remember that night, and you replay it all because it meant something to you.
Yeah.
When you watch, like, and in a movie, I'm not saying that in a movie, like you can watch a scene and like, oh, dude, that hit home, but then you forget about it because it's like, to me, I don't want to waste my time always watching. It's like, to me, television is a form of entertainment, but it's a form of entertainment. It's not like something that you do all, like, it shouldn't be in your daily routine for me personally, because I find other things to be entertaining, whether it be playing video games or like going out and doing, like I said, creating moments. And like, you can't do that every day, but you should, to me, what I want to do is I want to strive to do that. Is like, babe, instead of us watching a show today, let's go for a walk at a park at somewhere we've never been, or let's go do something. And like, I told her that, like, remember that one time I went to that one park with Bo, that's our dog, and we just had an amazing time. Like, we went and we explored all these different spots, and we're like, dang, like, that was a really good time.
Yeah.
And like, there's always these little things that we come up with that we actually remember, but then we sit back and said, oh, you remember that one? Like, I don't remember episodes. Like, I really don't. For me, I'm not saying for anybody or for you. Like, if you do, you do. But like, for me personally, I don't remember shows and be like, man, babe, like, I had such a good time watching that show with you. Like, because you're just sitting there. You're sitting there watching a television, like whether it be on your screen, laptop, the TV. Like, you're just sitting there watching a screen. Yeah. To me, that is not creating a moment. And you have, in this life that we have, we're only getting older. So like, why waste right now our youth in doing that whenever we are feeling bad or need a day to just relax or whatever? Yeah, for me, like I said, me, like, do that. Yeah. But right now, I'm more just like on a different grind than where I was before, where it's just like, I want to keep doing things, and I feel like a lot of times when you're not posting things on social media, like, people don't think that you do anything either. But it's like, I've done a lot of like cool stuff lately, and I'm going to, and I just don't post. Like, I have no necessity in posting it, because it's like, to me, I'm in the moment, enjoying the moment. Yeah. And like, sometimes I'll take a picture because I want to remember for myself. Yeah. But I feel like I need to do more of that, because I do want to look back at it, but it's not about posting. Like, I have a lot of pictures that I have not posted. Mm-hmm. You know, like on Instagram, the last post that I remember posting was when I got the house. That was a year ago. Yeah. And even before that, my last post was like a year before that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm posting stuff like now that like really is a big milestone, but like all the little things that mean something to me, I'm saving for myself. Because, and I know people are like, oh, well, we also want to be a part. If you do, then you would be texting and calling me. like if I really mean that much to somebody, like, they'll check in, or they're going to want to hang out or just catch up or whatever. Yeah. And I know social media makes it easy for you to have that excuse of like, oh, I want to see, like, if you really want to see it, like, you would be a part of my life. Yeah. And I think that we do lose touch and all that stuff. And I have no hate against social media, because I still go on there from time to time, and like, people have been, like I said, getting married, and it's cool to see that. Yeah. But for like you to post about every trip that you're taking, about all these little things like dinner dates, whatever, like, I don't care. Like, nobody cares about that. Like, it really, like, do you care about that?
I mean,
nobody cares.
Not really, because like you know, it almost feels like it has to be a portion of you, almost like, hey, look what I'm doing. Right. Rather than, oh, I appreciate this because I'm gonna look back on this, and I want to remember this moment. And like, Snapchat, like, I feel like is a lot of showy, because it's like
social media in general.
I mean, like Instagram, for example, I could see someone being like, oh, I love posting, and like, I've seen some people who are very, like, they use it to remember, you know, because it's like, it's you know, you just keep posting, and then you could put a description, and it's like nice, like, it's like you could put an anniversary, you could do other things that mean something to you, and like, it's like milestones. Like, you hit milestones and you post them, and you're like, I love doing this, or I love this project, or I love this moment that I have with my family or friends, and it feels great to post it and for other people to know. But at the end of the day, it's like, are you doing more things that just show what your life is like, so that you can make people feel like, oh, she's doing, or he or she is doing all these things. Like, oh man, like I want to do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily even think about it, because I have some sort of social media, but I just kind of lost touch with it because I feel like it was a waste of time.
I heard somebody say this where they're like, we tend to overshare in social media and then undershare in person.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a big point, because people are always showing what they're doing or talking about their opinions, and in person, they're not really talking about the things that they're either posting about in person.
Yeah.
Because either they feel like they might make somebody uncomfortable or whatever. We have a lot of like tendencies as people to do that. But like I said, the things that really mean the most to me is having conversations with people and really like learning about life and doing things that like I said, just creating moments, having a good time.
Yeah.
And like with each person, that means something different. But like to me, just people oversharing on social media right now, it really to me does not make any sense. Like, just like I said, nobody cares. Like to you in that moment, it makes you seem like, oh, it's cool, I'm doing this or this happened. But
yeah. You know what? Actually, that's true, because like I remember when I was younger, I'd be posting stuff on Snapchat, and then I would see people on their phones like when we'd be eating. And then they would just be pressing through all of it on Snapchat. Like, you just skip through all of it.
You go through a post, like.
And I'm like, what? You don't appreciate it. And I'm like, oh man, no one really cares.
Yeah, like the amount of, if there is,
it feels different when you can see it.
There's a way to look at it where like the amount of people that actually look at your whole video or your post and read it.
Yeah.
Like if you had just posted something and they liked right away, you know that person did not read your post. Because if you have a paragraph that liked it, like no, you know they didn't read it.
Yeah,
it's just how it is. How it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be some people that actually take the time to read it, but those are the people that actually want to know about your life, and if they do, they will be a part of it in some way or another. Mm-hmm. And either if it's like you see them at a party, or like I when I see people either at a family gathering or at just any type of gathering, you see people you haven't seen in a long time, and you like legit like sit there and talk to them.
Yeah.
Like that feels good.
It does, yeah.
And it's not because they didn't hit you up because they didn't care. It's just like they're, like I said, they're busy, out of sight, out of mind. But in those moments, you're like, man, like it feels good catching up.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of that, and I feel bad because like I feel like in every aspect of my life, I'm trying to get better. And I think friendship is one of those things that I do have a lot of people that I really am close to, and that I've hit it off with them. And I don't want to make anybody feel like I don't care about them, because I do. And I just, either I'm busy with my own stuff and I don't text them either, or like whatever. Like there's sometimes that I have, and either people don't text me back, or people short messages, and it's not really like really trying to know what's happening in your life. But in person, it's different.
Yeah.
For some people, texting just, they don't like it.
I have realized, because like there was a couple friends like I like, you know, finally I get to hang out with you, like either through Zoom or like, you know, video call or something, and it's great to see them. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna get right back to, we're gonna pick up right where we left off, and it didn't happen. And I'm like, well, in that moment I had a realization. I'm like, it's not there anymore. And I realized that it's a shame, but it's also kind of okay, because it happens. Like, there's going to be the people that you really, really click with, and also there's going to be the people that maybe you really wanted to be there, like you wanted to be friends with them, but the timing just wasn't right, or you slipped up because that person really tried. Like, there were a couple friends that really tried to be my friend, and I just slipped. I dropped the ball, and I would go back, and I'm expecting to pick it up right where we left off, and then it felt weird. It felt different, and I'm like, wow, this isn't what it is anymore. And for me, it was like, it was a lesson to be learned, where I'm like, if you really want these people in your life, keep contact with them. Send them letters, send them gifts, remind them how much you care about them, ask how they're doing. You know, because like, if you don't do that, don't expect something in return. Don't expect a friendship, because you know, it's just you have to work for it,
Yeah.
or else you're gonna lose it. And that's the reality of life, and that's how it really is. And so and I had to learn that. And there's some friends that I really miss, but it's like I learned from them. So it's like now I can really appreciate the friends I have now. And when I slip up, I'm like, all right, I got to get back on it, or else, you could lose these people, because you're not you need to appreciate them. So people want to be appreciated. If you want to be appreciated, you got to also show you that appreciation in return.
Yeah.
So that there's like a bond there, So.
Going back to the previous conversation.
We talked about so many things.
I know, we started about us and got into friendships and then social media and stuff, but another pivotal moment with our relationship, not even just our specific relationship, like it was really me thinking about you and Miguel.
Miguel's the middle child.
Yeah. The pivotal moment was choosing between going to Michigan, or not, either staying in Michigan, moving to St. Louis, or moving to Cali with you guys.
What moment
For me.
For you?
For me.
Okay.
I decided to go back to St. Louis. I really wanted to go to Cali. Deep down, I really wanted to go to Cali. But that moment for me was like, I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I can live anywhere by myself, but I feel like my brothers are at a point in their life where they're coming into their own, and if I go out there, I feel like I'm taking some of that away. And whenever
I didn't need you.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm saying like whenever you guys went to Cali, I could like when I went to go visit you guys. I went to go visit, and I just remember seeing you guys, and you guys are like, "Oh yeah, like this is this guy, this person," and like I could just see like you guys liked being like you said, the attention on you guys.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, man, like I really want to be here though. Like I really want to be here.
I really wanted to be in Cali.
I really did because Cali's Cali. St. Louis, like I feel like even when I came back here the first time just by myself, I had felt like I had a good time.
Yeah.
But everybody was in their own groups, and then I kind of came back and I kind of made friends, but it just felt weird because everybody was in a different place in their life, and I didn't know what I was expecting, but I came back and I just didn't feel like I fit in. So I was like, man, like I'm leaving. So I left Michigan, and I didn't want to leave Michigan. I really didn't. I really, really missed Michigan a lot, but I just didn't want to stay there by myself because I had no family, and I had no. At the time, I just felt alone in a way. And even though I had a lot of friends there, but I just felt alone. It was weird. And I was like, man, I feel like I need to make a big decision in my life. And I was like, I'm just going to St. Louis by myself. And I remember that day, I said bye to a close friend. And I said bye to mom and dad. And I remember that moment of like, man, this is a big decision. Like I'm leaving my family. I ended up moving in with... Was it my brother the first time?
I think it was Luis. Or Marty Maribel?
I don't remember. I moved in with somebody the first time.
But is that their cousin or our brother? Or our brother?
And then I'm not saying I don't appreciate it. I'm just saying. Like, I just remember moving here, and I was like, man, like this is cool, but it's not for me. Like and like even now, it's like I love being here to a certain point, but like I just don't really feel like I fit in with I don't know. I'm not saying I'm gonna move or I'm not gonna move. I'm just saying like, and because I'm trying to really just like focus on my goals and like live a simple life, because it brings you. It's just there's not extra stuff that you have to worry about. It's just like live a simple life and you can focus on things that really mean, or you prioritizing things that mean something to you.
Yeah. But
when I went to go visit you guys, I really did miss like my brother, like you guys, like my brothers, my mom and dad, and because we moved around everywhere, like we really became a unit in Michigan. Like we got at the end of it, I felt like we were getting to a peak of really appreciating what we had because our dad almost died.
Yeah.
You know, so like I felt that moment in itself, I was like, man, like the thing that means the most to me is my family. And maybe that's also why it made me feel like maybe I was making an excuse to like not fit in here. I don't know. But I just remember going back to Cali and I was like, man, Cali's nice. Like, yo, I could be here. And then after I left visiting, I forget how long passed. It wasn't long. There was an earthquake that happened. A big earthquake.
You were there.
I wasn't there.
No.
It was right after I left from visiting, and I was
mad.
mad.
Oh yeah.
Because I've always, even though it sounds again, I've always wanted to experience an earthquake because I find them fascinating. Like, I find the natural power out here to be amazing. Like, I wanted to be a storm chaser at one point in my life because I think tornadoes are cool.
This fool would like pull out a journal while the earthquake's happening.
Yeah, the 9.8. I don't know the scale.
You pull out the machines.
I did. But I just always wanted to experience one. I remember me and Tatiana went on a date. I was so mad at her for this. I was so mad because it was our first date.
Yeah. And
we were with some friends, and they're like, "Oh, there's this earthquake simulator here." I was like, "Oh, bet." I missed the earthquake here, so I want to feel what it's like to have one.
Yeah.
Or feel like you're in one.
Yeah.
And Tatiana was like, we literally tried to carry Tatiana inside, but it was like she was making a scene of it because there's people around. It was like, oh, what the heck is this girl doing?
Yeah.
And she was so opposed to not going in there.
Where was this?
In San Francisco.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope. It's a science center. Like, it was actually really cool.
See, I didn't do enough in California.
I know.
I
know. That's what I'm saying.
You did a lot.
I know.
But I look back, I'm like, I did so much. And then, like, I realized how much I missed out on because I was still a little reclusive, and introverted. And I'm like, now I'm like, if I go back, it's going to be like a party. Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
And then she didn't want to go, so I was like, fine, if you're not going to go, I'm not going to go. So we ended up staying, waiting, and then everybody, oh, dude, that was so dope, blah, blah. Like, oh my gosh, dude, that made me so mad. Yeah. But I just remember, like, whenever I went to visit, I was like, man, like this, I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to not only be with my family, but to, like, experience something that I have not experienced. Because I was born in Cali, but grew up in St. Louis. Yeah. So, like, I didn't get to experience California and enjoy it. So, whenever I moved to Cali, I went in it with the mindset of, I really wanted to take the most out of this because I knew it wasn't going to be permanent. Because when I went out there, my goal was to help you guys move to St. Louis. Because mom and dad, like dad had just retired. He had just got done being sick. Mom was working 2 jobs. And they were just living in this little apartment and paying a lot of money for it. I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, you guys are at a point in your life where you're getting ready to like settle down and just enjoy life. And you're not going to be able to do that here. And I was like, why don't you move to St. Louis? Like, we can all go. Like, I'll even go. We'll all go together, and you can have a nice house, not have to worry about and pay way less. And it didn't make sense the way that they were living at the time. And then like towards the end of Cali, like they were trying to find somewhere to live, but even then, like it just wasn't gonna make sense because I had met Tatiana, and like we were even though like we were just starting to date, like there was something about her that I was like, I feel like this could go a lot farther than a normal relationship. Yeah. So
we're definitely gonna talk about like how you met Tatiana in a different episode. That's gonna be that's gonna be the one where she comes in for sure.
I'm very cheesy when it comes to a lot of things, and for me, I was really into Disney And a lot, so
What?
like I was, I would always no, for real. Hold on, a little sneak peek, a sneak peek into my mind,
bro. Pull out the carpet.
I wanted, like, in my mind.
Show you the world.
Stop! Like, you're bringing it back. You're bringing it back. I wanted to find my princess. I wanted to be that Prince Charming. I wanted to be that person that can make a girl happy and feel like, oh, like, this is a good guy. Like, that was what I wanted. But I was like,
every girl that ever liked you was like, oh, I missed it.
Nah.
No.
Every girl from the past is probably like, man, this guy was trash. But with at the end, like, everything just clicked right away. But that's all I'm going to say for now. We can talk about it later. If you guys want to tune in, you guys can tune in. It is a good story. Though.
It is.
But
and I'm a part of it too, so you're welcome.
Going to Cali, it was an experience that I really was like, man, I really feel like I'm going to be missing out if I don't go back. So part of me felt guilty because you guys are like, you guys are doing good. You guys are doing good. Like, you guys were, and I was like, man, but then I was like, to me, honestly, like I said, my family is the most important thing. And I could come out here and just enjoy being with them and enjoy being with the family that I haven't seen or talked to in such a long time. And I was like, I'm just going to go. Yeah. And I, like I said, it wasn't long. It was maybe like a month or something that went by and I was back. And going back there, like I said, I feel like a lot of people got the wrong impression of me. But
where in
Cali.
Okay.
Because I went out there knowing it wasn't permanent. So I was like, I just want to go have a good time. But that's not who I am. It was just like, I feel like people out there think I'm super extroverted. I'm not. Like, I'm really not. There's a side of me that can be and that can, like, do a lot of stuff.
It's like a switch you turn on.
I don't know. It is a part of me, but it's like I said, it's a part. It's not the whole me. Mm-hmm. And there's, again, very small amount of people that got to see who I really am out there. Yeah. But the people that think that they know me, like, saw this side of me. Oh, Gabe can do this. It's like I wasn't planning on being. I was just having a good time. It's just what was going on. But I met a lot of really cool people, and I really, really loved Cali. Like, I really, really did. And I felt like I grew even out. Like, each place that I've moved to, I feel like I've taken something with me from it. And when I got out there, it was just cool too because I felt our relationship even then grew.
Yeah.
And then where I felt it really, really took off was moving back here.
Yeah.
And
I feel like California was like we were all having a good time and we were all focused on, like, we had our own things and we were all we were still kind of learning how to, like, we got along, but we were still learning about each other. And
we were just having a good time, so we didn't really talk about anything.
That's true. Yeah, I don't even remember talking to you that much about.
We were having a good time, but I felt like that was the, like, start of, like, we were all going out doing stuff. Like, I felt like even then you were starting to figure out who you were. Yeah. So
that was a hard time for me, though. Yeah. Yes, it was. But, like, it's funny that you said, though, that you felt like you missed family because, like, when I was in California for, like, 3 months by myself doing massage school, I didn't, like, miss family. Like, even when I moved out, like, a year ago, like, I was like, Mom would be like, can you, like, keep up with me? Like, call me? And that was the same way. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't care. It's just, like, I don't know if it was because of how I grew up or something, but, like, there's just this part of me that's like, I don't have the need to, I don't feel that, like, I feel like this need to, like, want to, like, reach out or have to reach out to know, like, oh, like, to show you that I love you. It was just like, I was just like, okay, I'm out here. So, but now I realize I have to, it's a wrong thing. It's wrong to think that way. And I have to do that if I ever move out or if I move somewhere else, it's like, I have to keep up and I have to call because parents just care about their kids and you have to, like, let them know, hey, I'm okay. Like, I love you. It's like,
and I think
it's a whole part of, like, keeping up with everybody as well, like building relationships and maintaining them too. So,
but again, kind of like as I've gotten older, I've started to realize it's a process. Like you're not going to feel the way that I'm feeling right now because you're still 3.5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
I don't think it really has to do anything with maturity or whatever, because even you could be a super mature young person. We've seen little people do great things, but like take like child actors even, for example. You see they're very, very successful as kids, and then what happens to them when they're older? They went through so many things later, or they had so much exposure to things as kids that they don't really become the best of adults. Either commit suicide or they get into drugs or all this extra stuff. But I feel like the way that we grew up, it really like made us value the things that are important from my perspective.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to see that like I said, the things that really, really matter are the things that are in your reach and that are the closest to you. And like as a young person, you're discovering life, and as you're getting more and more freedom, like you're wanting to do all these different things, but a lot of it doesn't really mean anything to you, but you're just wanting to experience stuff. Either it's like, oh, I want people to like me, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's cool to do like experience stuff, but you're not really happy, because you're figuring yourself out. Like you might go through something like, man, I made a big mistake, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I talked to this girl, I talked to this dude. I'm just saying from a girl's perspective. And it's something that you're like, man, like I really dropped the ball. I really, but it's something that I look back on and I'm like, you know what? I appreciate what I have in my life. And then I wanted to touch on like our relationship now, because we haven't really talked about that.
No.
But our relationship right now is something that I really, really value, because you're not just a brother, like you're one of my closest friends too. And we've talked about a lot of deep stuff, and it's personal stuff, we don't need to talk about it, but it's just like we've talked about a lot of stuff that you don't talk to with just a friend. Even it can be family, you don't even talk to necessarily to family like that.
Yeah.
But we've been able to create now a relationship with a lot of ups and downs. Yeah, we still have different interests and stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to hang out and talk all the time.
Yeah.
But we talk often enough, and we keep in touch often enough, and we see each other often enough, where it's like, dude, like this person means something to me.
Yeah.
And to me, it's meant a lot also just seeing the relationship that you have with Tatiana, because it's like we're all brothers and we didn't have a sister. So like when I see you guys, it's like we have a sister in the family, so it feels nice to see that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm just in a different part of my life where like I'm just really enjoying who's there and who wants to be there and a part of this journey. I'm approaching stuff in my life right now where it's like, we've talked about it before, where it's like I feel like I can see, I'm at a point where I can see my mortality in a way where it's like every decision that I'm making right now is really determining what I'm going to do in my life.
Yeah.
Which, like as a kid, you could take a lot of chances. I'm just saying, like, I have very, very limited chances that I can take now. Before, like, 5, 6, 7, even before I'm married, whatever I want, and that didn't work out, I can go on to something else. Like, I have priorities and responsibilities now, so it's like, it's just different. So having people there that can help me become a better person, like push me, just like feeling that love and everything from people that are there. And it's even like my family that I have now through Tatiana, like my mother-in-law and Paco, her husband, and then even my father-in-law and her wife, and my sister-in-law and her husband Kylan. Like, I have a good relationship. I'm just saying, like, family. I have another extended family that means a lot.
Yeah.
And like it's not just like it feels like they're like help, like they help. Like I have my mother-in-law, like, oh, like you should work on, like, you should do this. You should do this. And it's like, I don't view it as like, oh, dude, she's like attacking me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, she's coming from a place of, even the way she's saying it is like, oh, like, I want to see more of you guys. I want to see, like, so we'll send her pictures now. Like, instead of posting it, it's like the people that want to see it, we'll send it to her. Like, she wants to see her daughter, you know, like, she wants to keep up with what we're going through.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of different things that go on where I come back to those people, you know, and those friends. And I have, like, you threw Alex out there. Yeah, I have a friend, Alex, that I'm really close with. And, you know, it's just like the circle that I have right now, I wouldn't change it for the world just because, like, and I'm not saying I'm not going to let anybody else in. It's just like the core group that I have right now, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I really, like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm happy. And I just don't care about the outside noise. Like, I hear stuff, I see stuff, but I don't care. Yeah. And I'm really happy because one of the things that I want to touch back with real quick too is like, I don't know if you remember, Dad would always talk about you need to love your brothers. You need to love your brother. And I'm like, yeah, but he's just so annoying, bro. Like, but that, honestly, that comment always stood in the back of my mind. Because it's like, if I can't even love my own brother, my own family, how am I going to be able to accept and appreciate anybody else that comes along that's a friend? Just because they have different personality or different interests or they have quirks that I'm, you know, not used to. Yeah. How am I going to be able to appreciate that person? So that, again, like even those words, like we had a lot of good conversation, like me and my dad and my mom, and like a lot of those things helped kind of make the relationship that we have now. Because at the time, I really wasn't thinking about appreciating our relationship or trying to figure out the pain and all the stuff that you were going through, because I was going through my own.
Right.
So now we've talked about stuff that's happened in the past and all that stuff, and we've cleared the air, and we good. Like we're good.
Yeah.
But I do feel bad, and I've already apologized privately. But from the stories that you guys have heard,
this is what I wanted on camera.
I'm gonna apologize publicly again.
Nah, you don't even have to apologize. Like I feel like I was. Again, like I feel like the things I've learned and you know, growing up, you know, just helped me to see. I don't know. Like I just always was hopeful that things would be good one day, like between you and me, because at the end of the day, no matter how much like, you know, ridicule I got from you or bullying, you know, it was like I still looked up to you, you know. And I still wanted to be like you. And I was like, oh, like if you played sports or you did something, I wanted to do it. And if I succeeded in some minor way, I felt like, oh, like, you know, I was like, oh, this would make him proud or something. And, you know, so it was like, you know, now I have different, I have different priorities. And like I do things for myself now. But, you know, back then it was like I was hopeful that things would one day be good. And, you know, and now they are, you know, like you said, like I'm actually very happy too where I am with my friends and you in our relationship. Like to me, it's just like one of the things I appreciate because I feel like now I can go to you. Like I know I can always go to you when I need advice on something or when I need help on like whether it be like on girls or like financial advice or, you know. I need a different perspective on certain things. It's like I know I can always go to you and talk to you about pretty much anything, and that makes me feel happy to have another person like that, and that now we are like closer than ever. And it's like for me, people always fear like getting older, but now I'm like more and more happy to just reach each stage. You know,
yeah.
Like I'm happy. I was super ecstatic when you got married. I was super ecstatic about the person that you married to because she's absolutely wonderful, and so now it's like I'm still that kid. I feel like I'm still there, you know, and it hasn't stopped. Like I'm still cheering you on every moment where you feel like you succeed or you feel like you're down on yourself, I'm always still there trying to cheer you on. And like I'm glad that I realized that at a young age, and like I'm still doing it,
Yeah.
So it's like, because I want to do that, and I feel like that's what really helped to really have some semblance of a relationship, and because I could see myself really being like, you know what, I hate my family, I'm done. I'm like, they were horrible to me.
You could have got to a point where you did.
Yeah, and but what always helped me was that story, the story of Joseph, from like, I need to forgive my brothers, because if like whatever they did to him was way worse, I'm like, you know what, it didn't match. Like, it didn't match. And
I didn't sell you as a slave, I didn't do that.
No, but still, it was like, it helped me to be like, you know what, like, things will get better. Like, it gave me hope. So it was like, that's what I held on to, and I'm glad I did, because now it's like, I feel like that's what helped to forgive certain things and to look past certain things. And now we have this established relationship where it feels like we're brothers and we're best friends and we got each other's back. And I mean, that to me is like, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of close everything out, what I would recommend anybody would be, if you do have disagreements with your family, with your friends, people that you're close to, like he's saying, don't give up on it. Like, sometimes it's just a period in your life that you're going through that might be tough, but once you get past that, you not only become stronger as a person, but as a unit. And whatever unit that is, not every family is the same, but I've gone through a lot myself, and personally, just like dumb decisions I've made and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's made me the person that I am today, and I'm happy with the person I am today. And with my family and everything, like, I've been trying to make conscious decisions, and I feel like that's something that everybody has to do, is like, if you know you need to improve on something or in a relationship, stop making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that we both made, without talking about it, we both made decisions consciously, like, you know what, I need to change this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and we did. And then now we're in a different position where we wouldn't be here this long talking, or even standing each other this long. Like, we wouldn't. As kids, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, a minute goes by, like, I'm already done.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore. Like, we could chill all day. We could live with me, and I don't know about living with me.
No, we already lived together.
Yeah.
It was bad.
No, for real though. It's like, you need to really just, the people that are there and are there by your side, you're going through a hard time, stick through those people, because if they're still by your side, and even though there might be disagreements or fights or whatever, they're there for a reason, because they love you. And that happens in friendships and with family, and you can't give up on them. Like, there's some situations that they completely take advantage and they're abusing you. You need to get away from that. We didn't have that. But we went through a tough situation where we could have given up on each other.
Yeah, for real.
And I've seen situations that are even less than us, and they're not with their families anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, or their friends. So I would just say, from me, my perspective, and what we've been talking about for this would be to really, really just appreciate what you have, and don't give up so easily on things that are really important. Because sometimes it's just right around the corner from that, and this could be in anything, but I'm just talking about family right now and people that mean something to you. Right around that is going to be something that we have now. Yeah. It's something that I wouldn't change or for anything for the world. And that's kind of like my message from this whole thing. And, I'll let you finish it off. But that's what I wanted to say from this conversation, because this conversation I wanted to have and he wanted to have, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, because there's I have a lot of friends with siblings, and, everybody has disagreements. But that's just what I wanted to share from my perspective.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I feel like I think there was something I wanted to say. I just forgot it, but that's okay. But like, But yeah, like I just wouldn't change anything. Change anything that would, or yeah, this is what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, I just remember like maybe like when I was younger, I'm like, will things ever like you? It felt like you'll have moments where you're like, I want a different family, or I want different brothers, or I want a different mom or a different dad. It's like now it's like I'm realizing now that I'm older and just talking with my mom and talking with dad and talking with you, it's like I wouldn't change anything for the world because it's like you relate to your family no matter how much you feel like you're far apart from your family. You actually you're like you will relate to them in some way, you know. And like I'm realizing that now. I'm like I don't know if I relate to mom in some things, and it's like but now I'm realizing yeah we do relate in a lot of ways. Same with dad, and it's like so that's what it is. It's like your closest. The closest people, the people that are going to be closest to you is your family, and they're going to be going through similar things and could be lacking in similar things. And so when you have that realization, you'll be like, oh, we're not that different, you know, because you feel completely different sometimes. And you're like, I don't know how I relate to any of these people. Because for you and I, it was like, your sports, I'm a nerdy video game kid that's funny or whatever. And it's like, how will we find that bridge? And I mean, we found that bridge, you know, but the thing is, we didn't find it. We actually had to make it, you know, and like we had to. It took time, but you know, it's like now we have it, and it's like I don't know, we crossed it everything. Oh, snap! But yeah, but
Golden Gate,
the Golden Gate, yeah. But anyways, it was super cheesy. But you know, I'm gonna close out this episode now because it's been like. I think it's like been an hour
and a half, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So, but hopefully you guys got something from that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Still don't have a set schedule for the podcast yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. The more people can come, the more regularly, the more it'll be. Like once a week. My goal is for once a week, but if anything, just keep tuning in, please, and. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
If you like this episode,
yes,
and you want to see not only my story with my wife, because we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about.
Yes.
If you guys really appreciate this episode, please share it.
Yeah.
Please tell other people about it, because with the story that we had today, I just want people to understand that there's deep subjects that people just don't talk about. And he is wanting to cover so many things. So with the different people that he has on here, tune in because you never know, you might learn something.
Yeah. And I'm not presuming to know everything. It's just like, I just love having conversation, and I love getting something from conversation because that's what podcasts are. You get something from it. So if people get something from this, great. If you don't, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
move on to something else, but I don't care if we have one viewer, one subscriber. For me, that's enough. Like the first.
I'm subscribed, so I know you got one.
Did you subscribe?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. All right, thanks. But yeah, so thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a good night, and see you guys later.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty good. I told you.
I was like, dude, that's what I'm saying.